Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for my top 10 comic books of the week. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. This is my top 10 comic books of the week. Not a spec list, just a list of my favorite comic books for New Comic Book Day, January 27th, and I guess a little bit of 26th because that's DC. Let's get right into it. Number 10, The Eighth Immortal, number 1 from Source Point Press. I was very surprised with this book. It's written by Jacob Murray with artwork by Alex Lee Barnes, Tiffany Turrell on the coloring. Or is that cover? Yep, that's covering. Anyway, the artwork was really cool. It's got a nice, sketchy, indie type style. The use of color was sporadic, but very thematically relevant. I really like this story. I thought it was really cool. The basic premise of this one is that there are 7 immortals on Earth. There can only be 7 for some reason, and anytime there may possibly be an 8th, well, they got to take them out. But what happens if someone survives? A really cool, solid book from Source Point Press. Like I said, the artwork was what impressed me the most, but the story was solid. The world building, the way that they introduced the concept and the characters was rather compelling. Like I said, really cool artwork. Really liked it. Number 10, The Eighth Immortal. Number 1, one of my co-sleeper hits of the week. At number 9, we've got Kaiju Score. Number 3 from Aftershock Comics. This is by James Patrick and Rem Brew. I'm really liking this. This is basically a heist story, a typical heist story done in a very efficient manner. The dialogue is very snappy. It goes back and forth. Really interesting characters, double crosses, and twists and turns abound. But what really separates this out from most other heist fiction is that it takes place during a kaiju invasion. So that's really cool. So they plan the heist around this kaiju attack, and then of course it doesn't go according to plan. And like I said, twists and turns, double crosses. I really like the artwork. The artwork's got an animated type style to it, but still is able to capture the emotions and the energy that's necessary. And this book has a lot of fun, doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's not overly goofy in any kind of excessive way. Number 9, Kaiju Score. Number 3 from Aftershock Comics. At number 8, we've got DC Future State. Superman versus Imperious Lex. This seems to be a theme, but that number 8's happen to be a Future State book. I like rhyming and alliteration. Anyway, Future State Superman versus Imperious Lex. I really like this one. It's written by Mark Russell, and it's got artwork by Steve Pugh. If you are familiar with Mark Russell's work, what he likes to do is make a commentary, but in a satirical parody type way, and at times using very well-established and well-known properties. So this is at some point in the DC Future State timeline. It's a point in which Lex Luthor has said, screw it, I'm done with Earth. I'm done with Superman always getting in my way and stopping me, and I'm going to go to my own planet. And he goes and founds Lexor. But Lexor has maintained its wealth by, of course, definitely taking advantage and abusing other planetary systems in the galaxy. So then this leads to a lot of stuff involved with the United Planets and Superman and Lex, and it brings it all back. I really like this. If you're a fan of Mark Russell, I think you'll really like this one. If you don't like Mark Russell stuff, if you want this book to take itself a little bit more seriously, I think you will be disappointed. This is not your typical Superman book, but I had a lot of fun with it, and I thought it was pretty rad. So that's number 7. Number 7. No, that's 8. I have a biker mice from Mars. Number 1 down there. It distracted me. That should be on the top 10. But at number 8, it's Future State, Superman versus Imperious Lex. At number 7, we've got Department of Truth, issue number 5. Yes, loving the artwork in this book. This is what cements it every single time it comes out. Martin Simmons with a really great, raw, visceral style for this book that really makes it feel horror. And it's so just it's enveloped in it, right? It's like Dave McKean and Bill Sienkiewicz had a satanic love child, and that's what the artwork is like. And what's more astounding to me about Simmons' work on this book is that if you look at all of his other work, like books like Punk's Not Dead and Friendo and even Dying is Easy, He adapts his style to what is necessary, and I'm loving it. Ditcha Bidikar doing the exact same thing with his style with the lettering, but what James Tynion's giving us with a story in which reality is changed based on the belief of the majority. So if the majority of people believe in some crazy conspiracy theory, it starts becoming true. This is about the Department of Truth who's trying to go against that. But in this issue, it's an exposition-y issue, but because of the artwork, it's handled in a very moody and atmospheric way, and I thought a very elegant way. I really, really like this book, but now we're starting to question if the Department of Truth are quite on the up and up. And in a book that's going to be dealing on these kind of things, if it knows what it's talking about, everything's going to be shades of everything. You get what I'm saying? Department of Truth, number 5, was number 7 this week on the top 10. At number 6, we have Future State Aquaman, number 1. I was incredibly impressed with this book. The artwork was absolutely solid. I had a lot of fun with this book. It's about Jackson King, who is now the new Aquaman in the future, and Andy, the child of Mira and Arthur, is now Aqualass, Aquawoman to be. But this book I had a lot of fun with. It's written by Brandon Thomas with artwork by Daniel Sampierre. This was so much fun. I was not expecting much out of this book. You know I'm a hardcore Aquaman fan, but Aquaman's been kind of disappointing me of the last few years. But this, even though it's just going to be 2 issues, this is a nice breath of fresh water, one could say, because I always have this gripe with Aquaman books that the art and the story doesn't make me feel like I'm underwater. And in this one, I felt the whole time like I was underwater, 100%. So I thought it was great. My number 6 book was Future State Aquaman. I would like to see this future explored more. I thought that this was the best and most BA had ever seen Jackson. Because I've been sold on him at times and then unsold on him at other times, but that was pretty dope. At number 5, we got Something is Killing the Children, number 14, from Boom Studios, written by James Tynion IV, with artwork by Werther Della Dera, coloring by Miguel Muerto. This book is amazing. I had a lot of fun with this one. This book starts doing something a little tonally different with the coloring in the first half of this book. Then it switches back to the typical stuff at the end, but it ties in thematically to what the characters are going through and the plot of the story that's being revealed. This book has been great from the very beginning. I think that James Tynion, working with Della Dera and Muerto, that's some of the absolute best representation of a Tynion script through artwork is in Something is Killing the Children. It did not disappoint. It's got those emotional beats. It hits you in the feels when it needs to. Literally, Something is Killing the Children, every single issue, and there's a lot of action in this issue as well. At number 5, Something is Killing the Children, number 14. At number 4, it's Future State Dark Detective, number 2. I am loving Dark Detective. The artwork by Dan Mora and Jordi Belair is absolutely fan-frickin-tastic. I love my favorite idea of DC Future State is this idea of the magistrate of Gotham in the next 5 to 10 years, where they kind of become this police surveillance state, and the police force has been privatized, and they have orders to shoot masks on sight because there's all this facial recognition technology. It feels like a Philip K. Dick type influence on Gotham, and I think it's a really cool approach to this story. So I'm really excited to see it continue in next Batman as that becomes its ongoing type story. But Dark Detective to me has been the standout of Future State. It's not obnoxiously overpriced like next Batman or the Superman book like at $7.99. It's obnoxiously overpriced at $5.99. The Red Hood story I think is pretty cool and nifty, but I didn't really quite dig on the artwork in that story. I'll show you a bit of that one. But the idea of that one is that the Red Hood is now working for the magistrate to take out other mask in the city, kind of like Harley Quinn is. But the magistrate stuff's been fascinating to me. Tamaki's been doing a great job with the script because I think when she's paired with a really solid artist, it really helps her story flow a lot better. And Dan Mora and Jordi Belair, it doesn't get much better than this. I loved Tamara Bonvillain's coloring on Mora on Once and Future, and I loved her coloring on Nick Darrington and Next Batman #1 as kind of setting the tone for what this Neo Gotham would look like. And I get it. It's not Neo Gotham. That's Batman Beyond, right? And then they call it Neo Gotham there. Anyway, but this version of Gotham, but I think Jordi Belair's taking it to another level and doing something different, but quite still in tone with that, and I'm loving it. This, to me, has been the best story, the best artwork, the best package of DC Future State has been Dark Detective. At number 4, we've got Dead End Kids, The Suburban Job, number 1. This one is written by Frank Gogol with artwork by Nanad Kitchkanen. I messed that up. Sean Reinhart on the lettering. I have a lot of fun with this book. I've read the original Dead End Kids. This has, I think, nothing to do with it except for maybe in theme and tone and the idea of what it's getting into. But you can read this on its own, even if you haven't read the other one. It's about these 3 young people who have connections and losses to 9/11. But the way that they tell the story is through the images, through powerful, impactful moments, not through a lot of exposition. This book is a breeze to read. The artwork is clean and simple, and it does exactly what it needs to do to convey the emotion and to convey the tone and atmosphere of the story. I had a lot of fun with this one, but at the same time, I was touched by it. So Dead End Kids, The Suburban Job, number 1. I know we've already been hearing all these tales of it selling out and going up on the spec market or whatever, but it's also available digital. Frank Gogol and company did a great job with that one. That's my number 4 book of the week. At number 3, we've got Strange Adventures number 8 from DC Black Label. This is written by Tom King with artwork by Mitch Gerrits and, of course, Doc Shaner. And we've got lettering by Clayton Cowles. I love this book, and I thought Strange Adventures number 8 was probably one of the best issues of the series. It's really starting to come into focus now. What the story is truly about, the stakes that this story is going to have. And if you notice on the page there, you got Mitch Gerrits and you got Doc Shaner. That's 2 different artists on the same page with 2 completely different styles, but it flows with consistency throughout, and I think that that is an absolutely amazing feat. So you got one story in the past, one story in the future, or in the present, I should say. It's all kind of coming together. It's all reaching a peak. All the elements are hitting their climax here in issue number 8 of 12, and I'm having such a good time reading Strange Adventures. It's deep. It's a mystery. It's exciting. It's exploring things like it's exploring perspective. The idea of what is a war hero to one culture is a war criminal to another culture. You get what I'm saying? It's kind of dealing with that kind of thing, ends justifying the means, what it means to be a sci-fi hero in the 50s. Really cool stuff. Strange Adventures number 8. That's my number 2. Yeah, that's my number 2 pick of the week. Man, I messed up my numbering. I need to start putting Post-it notes on here. At number 1, though, it's Batman Black and White number 2. I was so impressed with this book. It's got work by Tom King and Mitch Gerrits. It's got Sophie Campbell, Gabriel Hardman, and Karina Becco, Dustin Weaver, and David Aja. This stuff was amazing. Every single story in here blew me away. The Mitch Gerrits, Tom King story was resonant, a bit cliche at times, but the way it was done felt fresh and new. The Sophie Campbell story was charming and had a quality of innocence about it that I found rather cute. I thought it was fantastic. I've been a fan of her work since I first saw her on Jim and the Holograms. The Gabriel Hardman story involving the Joker, really cool exploration on their relationship and an interesting take on that. And all of the artwork in here, they are using the black and white to maximum effect. So right there, we've got the Dustin Weaver story that I think is one of the most unsettling Batman stories I've read in a long time, and it's all because of the narrative and the way that it thematically represents and goes into the whole black and white thing. Then there's the David, I think it's Aja or Ajay or Aha, but his story was great. It's done in these like pulpy, noirish 1940s newspaper strip type styles, and it just truly tells a really great, dark, great, gritty, grounded Batman story. All in all, 5 excellent Batman stories and some pinups. Freaking fantastic. Batman Black and White, number 3. That was 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I just messed up the numbering. Recapping, so we get the numbering right. At number 10, The Eighth Immortal, number 1. At number 9, Kaiju Score, number 3. At number 8, Future State, Superman versus Imperious Lex. At number 7, The Department of Truth, number 5. At number 6, Future State, Aquaman, number 1. At number 5, Something is Killing the Children, number 14. At number 4, Dark Detective, number 2 from DC Future State. At number 3, Dead End Kids, The Suburban Job, number 1. At number 2, Strange Adventures, number 8. And at number 1, Batman Black and White, number 2. Those were my favorite comic books of the week, my 10 favorites. What are your favorites? Your top 10, your top 5, your top 3, your top 1. What's your pick of the week? Let us know in the comments down below. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out the video. We'll be right back here, though, for Talking Comics with Live, blah, 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 Comics with Bueller Station. Thanks for checking out the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And join us over at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts, blogs, and a whole lot more. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading.